Angela, Hodgkin's lymphoma. 2003 February I was diagnosed, and it started in around September of the year before. I had noticed a lump in my neck, a small lump, like maybe the size of a marble, and I kind of ignored it a little bit. And I did. By the time I went to the doctor, he was like, okay, well, we'll just watch it. Maybe it's a swollen gland. And I said, okay. I started being very winded when I was going up and down the stairs. And I started to not be able to sleep well, because whenever I slept on my side, it hurt in my chest, which I later found out was because I had a tumor in my chest the size of like a baseball. So I knew something was wrong. And then I was just like afraid to actually hear the words. But I did. I went for a biopsy in February, and the doctor said to me, oh, well, I'll call you in and we'll remove the stitches and I'll tell you then, the diagnosis. So he sent me home, and on a Friday at 5 p.m., I'll never forget this, it's so funny because it's over 10 years ago, I remember it like it was yesterday. He called the doctor and he told me right over the phone. He didn't say, are you alone? Is there anybody with you? Nothing. Didn't prep me, just... And I was home with 3 kids, alone at the time, at like 5 o'clock at night. And he said, you have, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and you should go see an oncologist. Time is of the essence. Okay, thanks. And I hung up and I was like, okay, what do I do now? I didn't want to call my husband because he was at work, and I didn't want to like drop that bomb and then have him drive home and be all crazy. So I didn't tell him. I didn't know really what it meant. I really didn't. Then I called my mother, and I told her over the phone, and like 20 minutes later the doorbell rang, and it was my parents at the door. And we just kind of were like shocked and didn't quite know what to do, and I was the first one in the family to be diagnosed with anything. Then from there I went into Manhattan, into Sloan Kettering, which is the hospital to go to, the cancer hospital, blah, blah, blah. And I had gotten the name of an oncologist who was supposedly top in the field of the lymphomas. And so she basically said that it was a curable cancer, had a high cure rate, 95%, I believe they told me. They also told me not to investigate anything on the internet. So she basically said that it was, a curable cancer and that I would need chemo and radiation. So I started treatments in April, the last week in March. I went all through April, all through May, all through June. So I had 3 months of chemo once a week. And then I had 30 days of radiation every day. I did, again, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't. I had no idea. But what it was, the people involved in the hospital, the nurses and all that administered were wonderful. All the people involved, wonderful people. But it was intravenous. There was no pill everything was intravenous. Nausea medication I was given orally for home, but they would put it in before I would get my treatments too. So, which I actually did well with that. I only kind of vomited maybe twice because they gave me like nausea medicine before they started it. So they would give it to me, it would drip in, and then like 20 minutes later they would start. So. But I was also on steroids, so I was, as much as people say wipe them out and all that, didn't really happen to me because I was on a lot of steroids. So I would get treatments on Tuesday and I'd be okay Tuesday, Wednesday, I would drive, I drove. I went far, but I did my own food shopping and stuff like that. My mother came over every day and took care of me, though. She cooked for me and stuff, but I was able to function. The radiation kind of got me, like, that kind of put me on the couch. Because then they stopped the steroids, and so whatever was giving me the oomph was no longer there. I was more affected by the radiation than I was by the chemo. Although I lost my hair, and I lost my eyebrows and my eyelashes, and although I did lose a vein in this arm on my first treatment, one of the medicines hardened, I could still feel it, hardened my vein, and it stuck out from the skin, and this arm I couldn't straighten out for the whole time. And they never were able to use this arm again, so everything was done through this one arm. And they wanted to put a port in. It was my option. It ended with, you should be fine. I am a lymphoma survivor, and I have been cured for 10 and a half, almost 11 years. It changed me in that, and it's not cliche, that you appreciate life more, or it's not, because it's true. And I think I laugh more now. What's going to matter after this? And really, in the scheme of things, not a lot. When you're fighting for your life, when you've beaten, what's worse than that?